Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. On behalf of the International Court of Justice, I would first of all like to extend to the organizers and to all the participants a warm welcome to the Peace Palace, where all nations seeking peace and justice come before the World Court to have their disputes settled peacefully through the law. As the principal judicial organ of the United Nations, the mission of the International Court of Justice is peace and justice, as depicted in a large painting on the wall of the Great Hall of Justice by Albert Penard, a French artist. And those of you who may have visited this morning the Hall of Justice, the Great Hall of Justice, must have noticed that painting. It is on the left-hand side of the wall, and it is entitled Peace and Justice. It is a painting which is worth hundreds of thousands of words. It symbolizes how culture and cultural works contribute to peace through the arts, music, dance, literature, and above all, through education. The expression culture of peace, which is the theme of the conference and of the foundation, reminds me, however, of my past association with UNESCO, which has done a lot to promote the culture of peace throughout the world in accordance with its constitution. You will recall that it is stated in the Constitution of UNESCO that, and I quote, peace must be founded, if it's not to fail, upon the intellectual and moral solidarity of mankind. Education is the basis of both types of solidarity, both intellectual solidarity and moral solidarity. But it is even more so in the case of intellectual solidarity. As we know, ignorance breeds suspicion of the other. Ignorance of how cultures promote shared values and of how cultures and civilizations interact, borrow, and learn from each other, breeds contempt and misunderstanding among peoples and nations. Ignorance is the antithesis of intellectual solidarity, and that's why education is of extreme importance. Just to give you an example, it was recently reported that an American research firm put the following question to 3,000 Americans. The question was, should Americans, as part of their school curriculum, learn Arabic numerals. 56% of the respondents said no. The pollster did not, of course, tell them that Arabic numerals are the numbers they use every day to dial their telephones, which they carry all over the place. Perhaps the pollster should have also told them that a Persian scholar by the name of Muhammad ibn Musa al-Khwarizmi developed what we call today algebra, and that the algorithm used in computer science and artificial intelligence are actually derived from his name, al-Khwarizmi. It is only through education and interaction among cultures that such prejudices can be overcome. A word now about moral solidarity. This is a concept which not only evokes, but also involves justice, equity, and the shared values of a community, be it at the domestic or international level. It is also about the equitable treatment of the other, be they individuals, peoples, or nations. It highlights the importance of procedural justice, equity, and fairness in addressing grievances and disputes, whether those grievances and disputes concern individuals or states. So a system of justice based on moral or legal solidarity and cooperation will be perceived as fair, and its authority will inspire confidence in all those who may need to use it. As such a system can play a role conducive to peace and harmony. To give you a recent example, which concerns the International Court of Justice, two states in Latin America, Guatemala and Belize, that have had a territorial and maritime dispute for over 100 years, decided to put a question to their respective populations in referendums organized in their countries. And I hope that more states around the world will put similar questions to their populations instead of going to war over disputes, because I have no doubt that the choice of the population will be peace over war. The question was as follows: do you agree that any legal claim of Guatemala against Belize relating to land and insular territories and to any maritime areas pertaining to these two territories should be submitted to the International Court of Justice for final settlement, and that the court determine finally the boundaries of the respective territories and areas of the two countries? The peoples of both countries, Guatemala and Belize, overwhelmingly gave a positive answer to the question. This is something that made us extremely proud at the court, and which demonstrated if there was a need for such demonstration, the confidence and trust in which the law and procedures we apply to settle disputes and bring peace among nations are held as symbols of moral solidarity and cooperation among nations. I will end these brief remarks by going back to the importance of education for a culture of peace, and by quoting again from the Constitution of UNESCO, a passage with which I am quite sure you are all familiar. And it goes as follows. Since wars begin in the minds of men, it is in the minds of men that the defenses of peace must be constructed. I will now turn to my second task here today, which is to introduce the stellar personalities of the final panel of the conference. Our first speaker is Her Excellency Mrs. Maria Fernanda Espinosa Garres, President of the 73rd session of the United Nations General Assembly. She will speak by video connection. Mrs. Espinosa Garces is an Ecuadorian politician and diplomat. She is the current president of the UN General Assembly for the 73rd session, an office which she took over in September 2018. Before that, she was Minister of National Defense of Ecuador from 2012 to 2014.